Alright ladies, before you tell a man that you like him, there are a few things that you need to pay attention to. Not the story in your head, not the excitement, but the truth of what's actually happening between you and him. Because sometimes the situation looks one way on the surface, but underneath there are signs that you haven't fully noticed yet. Little details about his life, the way that he interacts with you, and the way that you might be filling in the gaps with your imagination. And listen, it's completely okay to tell a man that you like him. There are subtle feminine ways to express interest, but the timing and the context matter. Quite often, you convince yourself that there's potential when deep down he may not even have the qualities that you need in a partner. And that realization is what protects your heart and your emotional well-being. My name is Ismael Gomez and I coach women like you to understand relationship dynamics and male behavior. And in today's video, we're going to break down how to know whether you should tell him how you feel or keep it to yourself. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1, the fantasy versus the truth. Before you even think about telling a man that you like him, there's one thing that you need to understand. Sometimes your feelings aren't rooted in him, they're rooted in the fantasy that you've built around him. And that fantasy often forms before you even confirmed the simplest, most basic fact. Is he actually single? And yes, I know that sounds obvious, but I see so many of you falling for a man without even knowing if he's single, without even knowing if he's looking to date or even capable of investing in something meaningful. And many times the fantasy is so strong that your mind doesn't want clarity. It just wants confirmation of the story it already created. Because the thing is that when your feelings grow fast, your imagination grows faster. You start projecting qualities onto him that he hasn't shown consistently because the connection feels intense on your side, and this is where the danger begins. You might think you're falling for the man, but what you're actually falling for is the version that you created in your head. And this fantasy gives you uncertainty, excitement, all the emotional spikes that feel like chemistry. But the moment you tell him how you feel, the fantasy fades away and reality steps in. And that's why confessing your feelings sometimes can be terrifying, not only because of rejection, but also because of clarity. Fantasy allows you to keep believing, but reality forces you to finally see. And sometimes what you see is that he's not interested as you thought, he's just being friendly, or he's not even looking for anything serious. That's why I always suggest before you share your feelings, before you get attached to someone, ask yourself, would this man even be good for me? And I know you're probably nodding your head right now and you want to tell me, oh yes, Ismael, you know, this man is amazing, he's different. And okay, well, let's say that he seems interested. Okay, let's say that he's giving you just enough to make you curious, but nothing clear, nothing concrete. So what do you do next? Number 2, why isn't he taking the lead? Some men are slow to open up, some men are shy, and some men are simply not feeling you at the level that you wish that they were. And the challenge is that in the beginning, all of these men can look exactly the same. So what does his passiveness actually mean? I mean, you heard me say this 100 times here on the channel, but quite often a man engages with you not because he sees you as a potential partner, but because he likes what he's extracting from you. He's going to text you when he's bored, he's going to show up when he's feeling lonely, and understand that if a man truly feels something for you, he eventually takes some type of action. It might not be dramatic or immediate, but it shows. However, here's where you actually have some influence. You can accelerate the clarity by dropping the handkerchief, meaning you can show some subtle interest, not chasing, not confessing, but giving him small openings to step forward and reveal his intention. And I have many videos here on the channel on how to do that, but the most basic one is leaning into something that he's passionate about. Let's say that he likes dancing salsa because he's Latino, you know, we like that. And something that you can ask is, why do you like it so much? And you let him talk, you let him lead the conversation, and then you softly drop a hint. Oh yeah, you know, salsa seems like a lot of fun. I never really learned how to dance it. Where do you usually go to do it? So right there, you didn't ask him out, you didn't initiate a plan, but you simply created a moment that if he's interested, he's going to invite you. But if you keep dropping these hints and he's still not taking initiative, he's probably not that into you. Men who truly want you don't ignore these kind of opportunities. And there's a phrase that I keep hearing in my coaching sessions. A lot of you tell me, but Ismael, I think he feels the same, but he's just afraid. And to that, my question is always, afraid of what? A grown man afraid of a beautiful woman like you showing interest? No. I'm sorry, when a man wants you, he finds a way. When he doesn't, he finds excuses. And final, number 3, can his feelings build over time? This is the question that many of you ask when you're already emotionally invested. If he doesn't like me right now, can he eventually like me? And here is the truth. Not the romanticized version, not the version that you tell yourself at night, but the version that actually keeps you from wasting your time. A man doesn't suddenly develop feelings because you're consistent, patient, loyal, or emotionally available. He usually develops feelings because something in the connection resonates with him from the beginning. Now, is it possible for attraction to grow? Yes, but for men, it usually happens when there's already a seed, a spark, and curiosity. If that's missing, no amount of waiting or hoping is going to create it. And a lot of women get stuck in this loop, not because the guy is giving them everything, but because he's giving them just enough to stay emotionally hooked. So you start wondering, maybe he's going to come around, maybe he's shy, maybe he needs time, and I hate to break it to you, but maybe it's never going to grow. Also, what I always notice is that when you're spending all this energy wondering if this man is eventually going to see your value, there's probably 2 or 3 men in your orbit right now, at work, online, a friend of a friend, who already noticed you. Men who are truly interested in you, who would show up more consistently or actually initiate something, but they never got a chance. Why is that? Because your attention is locked on the one man who's not moving. And I know that you're probably thinking, but Ismael, I'm not attracted to those guys who like me. And I get it, but let me tell you that a lot of these men that you're attracted to, okay, is because you're wounded and you're drawn toward men who are low-key ignoring or rejecting you. One of the biggest mistakes that I see women make is choosing a man purely based on feelings or attraction, because if you haven't worked through certain wounds, that attraction is often going to pull you toward the wrong connections. So you really have 2 approaches. And approach 1, which is the one that most of you take, is I'm really attracted to this man, so let me see if he likes me back and hope that he's going to be a good partner. But when you lead with attraction, this is going to distort things for you. You're going to overlook red flags, you're going to ignore inconsistencies, and convince yourself that there's potential where there isn't. And the second approach, which is the one that I suggest, is let me see who's actually interested in me, truly interested, who is consistent, who has good partner qualities, and I may not feel that deep attraction yet, but let me go out on a few dates with him and see if it can grow. Now, you're not always going to end up liking the guy, but you will be surprised how many times you can end up falling for someone who treats you with love, sweetness, and kindness. Alright ladies, that is all for today, and to quickly recap, here are the 3 points from this video. First is the fantasy versus the truth. Make sure that you're responding to what's real, not the story that you created in your head. Second is, why isn't he taking the lead? Well, don't be afraid to drop some hints and let his reaction show if he's truly interested. And third one, can his feelings build over time? Yes, but when he's showing effort, curiosity, and direction. If you're doing all the emotional work, it's never going to grow. Anyways, thank you for subscribing to my channel, and remember that for your relationships to change, you need to change, okay? Have a beautiful day.